You're listening to the audio of a new anthem spot. Coca-Cola has ditched its Open Happiness campaign, launched back in 2009, and launched an entirely new brand idea. Will Burns is a contributor to Forbes magazine, and he joins us now on 680 CJOB. Mr. Burns, thank you for joining us. Good to talk with you.
My pleasure. Thanks, Richard.
The whole idea of when Coke does something like this, people do stand up and take notice, even from the ending of Mad Men and the whole, the Coca-Cola spot there. What are they doing? Because they're amalgamating some of their brands south of the border and I guess maybe worldwide here. What's the background here to what Coke is doing? Well,
I think they're basically reacting to negative forces to soda in general. Back in the early 1900s, people actually thought Coke was good for you, and those are some tailwinds that you can sail with. But right now, soda is considered basically worldwide as something that's bad for you. So what do you do when you're a brand and the conventional wisdom is that your product is not good for people? Well, you have to really heavily depend on your marketing because you can't make claims. You certainly can't make claims about your product. You can't even really say it's refreshing because that starts to open the Pandora's box of, you're just trying to make our kids obese, all that kind of stuff. So the only thing a brand like Coke can do is make associations. And, some of the best brands do that anyway. They try to make themselves a part of an emotion. And I think they were doing that with Open Happiness very well, to be honest with you. I'm actually sort of ironically sad that that's gone. But I think the new campaign, Taste the Feeling, is literally trying to inject their liquid into everyday situations where feelings are conjured. And so this is sort of their last respite, if you will, their last place that they can go to create relevance because they really can't talk about the product.
Brother, there's an endless road to rediscover.
And that's the whole idea of brotherly love, taste the feeling. So I have to ask you, is marketing soda really parallel to, marketing cigarettes a generation or two ago? Are there parallels here? Is soda the new cigarette in many ways?
I think that's a fair comparison because if you remember what cigarettes used to do, Marlboro Man, they were trying to associate with an image, in that case, the cowboy masculine image, without making any claims about the product. And that's exactly what Coke is doing here. They're trying to associate. I think, the risk with Taste the Feeling is that it's awfully broad. It's not committing to a particular feeling like Open Happiness did. And so that's sort of a risk. It's great in the sense that they can now choose any feeling, like the brotherly love spot is sort of interesting because that pits that emotion between a brother and his older brother. And they can do that all day long. So I'm curious where they're going to take it. But they're not committing to an emotion like the cigarette industry did.
It'll be interesting to see how the industry follows this because Coke is a leader in a lot of these campaigns, aren't they?
They are a leader, and, it's a shrinking category. I think their sales were flat last year for Coke. But, in a shrinking category, you have to steal share from others, and you hope that you steal the share faster than the category declines. And I think this is the kind of big campaign, and it's not just this campaign. It's also they're playing with the size of the containers. They're going to smaller sizes, which is probably very smart. They're also unifying this campaign over all Coke brands, so over Diet Coke, over Coke Zero, over Coca-Cola. It's one campaign that represents all of those, so people can participate in the brand if they're looking for a Diet Coke. They can participate in the brand if they, want something like a Coke Zero or the Full Blast Coke. I think that's really smart, too, because it unifies the brand as opposed to having, segregated brands in the marketplace that are frankly more expensive to keep afloat.
Will Burns joining us. You can read about him in Forbes magazine. He's CEO of Ideasicle. You can follow him on Twitter at Will O'Burns.